man was there, the fish in the pond were dying, the fish man was there, the pool filter was giving up, the help had used the pool, we had not, and I said, wait a minute, we've got this house that's always needing all these people here, and they're always here. When we're here, we're never alone, and we're just newly married. And I said, let's streamline, simplify, and it was done very arbitrarily over a cup of coffee one day in the breakfast room. I said, you know what? We've lost that hunger and that drive. I mean, it's nice to have arrived, but it was more fun getting here. I said, what would you like to do? He said, I've always wanted to live in a hotel. And I said, well, then let's chuck it and do it. Let's do what we want to do, not what is expected.
And you do have, I know the feeling, and it's nice that you had the courage to do that. I live in a car for the same reason. We'll be right back with more of these, too.
It's the longest-running cartoon show in history. You know the show? It's surprising how many young people have grown up with Scooby and Shaggy and the group in the show.
Now, which character is yours?
Shaggy.
And how does his voice go?
Scoob, old buddy, old friend, old pal, here we are. We've hit the big time tonight.
And you do, I've seen you on auditions, because I used to do Ghostbusters, and you do a couple other things.
I did about probably 25 different shows and over 2,000 cartoon episodes. Josie and the Pussycats, Mark on Battle of the Planets, Robin on Batman and Robin, and also on Super Friends. Robin would do, holy hallucinations, Batman, foiled again by the famous Mr. Hall.
I think the most obscure of all your credits, I'll let you tell it. You're actually the guy who taught E.T. to speak the language.
Well, you know, my kids got more out of that than anything I've been counting down for 20 years now on radio, 10 years in television. They were more impressed with seeing me in E.T., not seeing me, but seeing the character E.T. learning how to speak on a TV set in that brief little scene where the voice says, B for a boy. That was me doing B for boy, but that was my claim to fame.
Yes, I remember that voice.
But I guess I've done over 10 or 15,000 commercials and about 20,000 network promos and things like that. But I have had a career as an actor as well, as you know. Great pictures like The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. For real.
What are you doing in the world of acting right now?
Well, I just finished a film in Washington, D.C., comedy, kind of a little love story with Randy Dreyfuss, who was my co-star. So hopefully that'll be released this summer. And, hey, I'm out like every other actor in Hollywood, beating the pavement, looking for a job.
Yeah. Let's talk about serious issues for a minute, because along with being a supporter of Jesse Jackson, I know you all are involved in a lot of different things. Why don't you speak a little bit on the Arab-Jewish conflict?
Oh, I'd love to. About 3 years ago, I thought it was important that Arab Jews began to speak in this country. I figured we were headed toward a nuclear catastrophe if we didn't do something. And so I figured, with my so-called celebrity status, if I didn't do it, who was going to do it? For my children, for the planet. And so I, along with many other Arabs and Jews, got together in conflict resolution dialogue. And just this past Sunday, we had meeting number 18 inside of 3 years. They used to be 2-day meetings. Now they're 1 day. And we hope to have another 6 or 10 in this community, not to mention in other parts of the United States and in East Jerusalem. So I just figured that if I couldn't make that kind of contribution to my family, to humanity, then I really have been overpaid and have had too much. So I figured I got to give some back.
What, I know Kasem is probably not your last name, but you don't have to tell me what your last name is. What is your ethnic background?
Lebanese, Arab, right? And the organization...
The guys in the Miami Heat are clapping.
Oh, great.
Oh, Ronnie Cycli, yes. Definitely.
Kifasakha. See, he said, how are you in Arabic?
And say it again?
Kifasakha.
Oh, okay, because you know what that sounded like in jive.
Uh-oh. It did?
Kifasakha. I'm not exactly sure what it means. It's a pleasure to have you both here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Very interesting couple to talk to. Gene and Casey Kasem, give it up for them. We'll be back with comedian Dave Dugan in a moment.